Ladies, I'm here on that channel. Second to last video for the night. I'm going to do the Xfinity Series Daytona recap after this one. But I want to get Smackdown done here, so watch Smackdown tonight. So, we're just over a week away from Clash in Paris, so it's all hands on deck to hype up the French Premium Live event. Obviously, they were in Dublin, Ireland today. Obviously, the show was earlier today. But I can't watch these shows early. I just wait until they come on at 8 o'clock. To be honest with you. But yeah, start their what is this? Like overseas tour? I don't know what it is. But for the show, Friday Smackdown from Dublin, Ireland. Was a slightly above average show. Top of the morning to you, ladies. It was a slightly above average episode thanks to some solid in-ring work and a few fun promo segments. It was slightly above average, I thought. You know, Cena handling Paul and AA after running him down on the microphone is one of the highlights of the entire show. But when it comes to in-ring action, it was hard to pick a standout. You know, the Profits versus MFT's match had some fun moments, but if I had to pick something as match of the night, it's probably going to be Motor City Machine Guns versus Mello Don't Miz. That was a great one. Ever since they reunited a few weeks ago, Mello and Miz have kind of been on a roll. It won't be long before they end up challenging for the tag titles. You know, the Irish crowd was loud and excited all night, which always makes for a more entertaining show when the crowds are loud. Let's hope France will keep that same energy next week, but I will give this slightly above average because I feel like it's been better than the past few Smackdowns to me. The past few Smackdowns have kind of been boring, so I thought this one was better. So I would probably give it a 6 point. No, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Thought it was a slightly above average. Actually, no, I'd lower it. I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. I thought it was slightly above average for this week. So we'll start off here. So here's the card. John Cena returns to SmackDown. You got Charlotte Flair versus Piper Niven. Aleister Black versus R-Truth. The Profits versus the MFT. And Motor City Machine Guns versus Mello Don't Miz. Mello Don't Miz. So we'll take a look at everything that happened here on this SmackDown from Dublin, Ireland. August 22nd edition of SmackDown. So, the man, Becky Lynch, returns to Ireland. This Irish edition opened her, coming out to a huge ovation. She talked about how important it is to have the first episode of SmackDown in Ireland, only to say the Irish fans do not deserve it. She tried to get the show cancelled. They immediately began chanting for Lyra as Lynch ripped into everyone. She complained about a lack of Irish media coverage over her career. She knocked this promo out of the park. She hasn't had a chance to really sink her teeth into his current heel character until recently, and she was definitely enjoying this. Timothy Stratton interrupted. Becky threatened to send her packing before Nia Jax joined the party. Jackson and Lynch attacked Tiffany until Jade come out and make the save. Nick Aldis came out and booked a tag match for later in the show. Incredible. This was a copy and paste segment that was incredibly predictable, but the strength of Becky made it entertaining. So pretty good open to the show. She was having the ball. She was having the ball, waiting for the crowd to stop chanting so she could turn on them. The fact that WWE barely did anything to hype her appearing at Happy Gilmore feels like an oversight, especially with the Netflix relationship. But anyways, yeah, thought it was a good way to open the show. For sure. Mello Don't Miz versus Motor City Machine Guns. Carmelo Hayes and The Miz were in action this week against Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley as they continue their quest for tag team gold. So Mello opted to tag in and start the match against Sabin, which the A-lister was more than happy to allow. Then Mello pretended that he was going to tag Miz, pulled his hand away. The Miz tagged in. They exchanged a brief exchange of smirks before he got on Sabin. Motor City Machine Guns used some double team offense to take control. As the show went to a break, we returned to see them still controlling the pace with their signature fast-paced style. The Miz was able to steal the win from Mello once again, but his partner didn't look too upset about this time. This is probably the best match as a duo so far. And Mello put over the Miz during a backstage interaction with Fraxim. And it was the first time I feel like Mello has appreciated like being his tag team partner. But yeah, it's a great match. Also, the Motor City Machine Guns. They have some of the best double team offense in all pro wrestling. They're so insane, man. And I kind of saw everything on Smackdown as it was going throughout Twitter, but I can't watch these shows early. Especially when there's baseball and shit. Like, I can't watch these shows early. Like, I just gotta watch the replay. Charlotte Flair versus Piper Niven. Next match featured Charlotte taking on Piper, but they're not alone. Chelsea Green now in Piper's corner. Alexa was absent, so Charlotte had to go alone this week. This was a decent match, but seeing Piper Niven get a win over such a big star was the best part. Hell, she pinned Charlotte. So Charlotte put her over. Piper Niven wins. So they're gonna tag team title match next week. I mean, that pretty much tells you who's gonna win. I mean, as if it wasn't obvious enough. But yeah, this was fun. You know, it was decent. Jimmy Uso and Sami Zayn had a backstage confrontation with Solo Sikoa, but there was no violence here. No brawl. But yeah, this match was fine for what it was. John Cena's farewell to Ireland. Cena made his way to a big ovation from the Irish crowd for what will likely be his final appearance in a WWE ring in the country. He was joined by Logan Paul before he could even say two words. The social media megastar went off on Cena and the crowd. It was completely unprompted. Cena just sat back and listened until it was time to speak. Paul said Cena was the imposter, not him. No matter what he said, the crowd chanted against him. When Cena finally spoke, he put Paul as a great athlete and a future champion, before calling him a disappointment. Cena tipped over the prime display at ringside as he continued to complain about Paul's lack of respect for the business, which popped the crowd. Now, you could see every step of this segment coming before it happened, but it still ended up being entertaining because Cena's one of the best promo men in the business. He can get the crowd invested faster than anyone, and this segment was a great display of his ability. Paul tried to get physical and ended up taking the FU, the AA, to end the segment. Great segment here. You can tell Cena's still having fun with this final run, and he likes being back in that babyface role. Having Paul's music hit before he had a chance to speak was a good way to get him some heat. And he said he could spit in the face of anyone in the crowd and they wouldn't do anything because he's clearly never known anyone Irish before, because he wouldn't make it out of the ring if he did that. Paul being allowed to mention the agreement Cena had Nikki Bella signed to move in with him was surprising, but Cena was allowed to mention Paul's legal issues, so they made out of this segment on even ground. But yes, it was pretty good. John Cena's promo against Logan Paul was his best all year. Worked excellent as it did because Logan Paul is a great heel. You gotta be like, I hate to do, but just gotta be honest. And John Cena sold me on the match, and he should have probably been babyface the whole time. And he destroyed Logan on the microphone, which is no surprise. But yeah, this was it's great, man. The Street Profits versus the MFT. Oh. So Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins took on JC Mateo and Tonga Loa this week, but as usual, Sikoa and Tala Tonga were not far behind. Most of this match was pretty standard stuff, but the final couple of minutes really helped elevate. It was solid, but the final few minutes helped it become good. So Lowe and Dawkins started for their teams, and the Profits took control with some quick double team after initial onslaught. This match was pretty much all MFT. Big Jim tried to provide some support by attacking Tall with a chair, but he was chased away by the Giant. Zayn showed up and took out Sikoa before the Profits finished off Mateo to get the win. Oh my. The crowd was chanting, "You can't wrestle," at JC Mateo, Jeff Cobb. That's just absurd. He may not have had a chance to shine yet, but he's a great performer. He's a great performer. And "you can't wrestle" chance, I mean, my lord. I also want to point this out. Lyra tagging with Tiffany for the main event was the easiest layup ever. I don't know how they ended up fucking that up. WWE's been booking Tiffany's so badass at SummerSlam. Lyra Valkyria. Well, and Tiffany, too. But yeah, as I was saying, I think Jason Mateo, Jeff Cobb, or fuck you want to call him, I think he's a good performer. But I think he's probably the best in-ring performer they got in the current faction. When you're booked like a nobody and booked with no passion, that's what's going to happen. Maybe it's on the performer. You know, Sammy wasn't ready to be doing those over the Rob antics back in the Bloodline, but he took it upon himself to get over, and he did it. But this is different, man. This ain't the old Bloodline. I get if you want to say that, but this ain't the old Bloodline. But Jeff Cobb's a great performer. It's just, I don't give a shit about the Bloodline. The MFT, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. It's just not doing well in WWE right now. But, I'm sure he can wrestle. I mean, it's kind of WWE's fault as well, because they presented him horribly to where the fans probably don't give a fuck. Especially with this MFT. Sikoa continues to be the best at taunting. So funny, man. Ford and Dawkins will have great careers, but will still be one of the most underrated tag teams when they are done, because they're so good when it feels like their bookings has never quite matched up to their skill. They should have better booking. So R-Truth was supposed to face Aleister Black, but he revealed he ended up to Dublin, Georgia, instead of Dublin, Ireland. But he sent Damien Priest to find his play. They started brawling as soon as Priest hit the ring. The ref was trying to separate them so he could start the match with no success. Security tried to break it up, but they kept breaking free and going after each other. It's kind of sad that it looks like WWE might have given up on R-Truth being a more serious character and go back to the comedy. I mean, I like comedy R-Truth, but it sucks they must have given up on that seriousness. Oh, and also, yeah, the Street Profits won, by the way. The brawl between Priest and Black was quick and didn't have anything too shocking. They were cleared from the ringside area. Drew McIntyre showed up. They gave a promo directed at Cody Rhodes. And after he was talking, Randy made his return, hitting an RKO out of nowhere to take down the Scottish Psychopath. This was a fun way to cap off a segment that was supposed to be a match, and this match never took place. So yeah, this match, it never took place. It was basically just a brawl, and then a promo, and then an RKO. Nia Jax and Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill. So Nia and Becky had a quick meeting backstage to establish they want to be on the same page despite still hating each other. Tiffany ended up taking out both opponents by herself with a huge senton from the top rope to the floor. Within the first few minutes, we returned from the break. Cargill taking it to Lynch. Jax made a blind tag and took out Cargill from behind, but she took too long to save her finisher. Lynch decided to leave Jax to fend for herself, which led to Jade and Tiffany scoring the win. This match had a few hiccups, but it was decent, had the right ending. It was fine, I guess. I mean, it was whatever. Lynch was kind of hilarious in the brief segment when backstage. Corner splash Cargill hit looked like it would actually hurt someone. Like that corner splash, and her torture rack into a power bomb is decent, but it would be more fun if she used the rack as a submission move. She could pull it off, but also, then the show went off the air after Paul was shown. He knocked out Cena backstage, so that's how he went off the airwaves. And I mean, I thought it was a slightly above average show, so I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Originally said 7 out of 10, but I'll knock it down to 6 out of 10. The main event was, it was fun. Aleister Black, Damien Priest wasn't even a match. The MFT and Street Profits I thought was good. The Cena Paul promo was really good. Piper and even Charlotte was It was fine for what it was. The Melodome Miz and the Motor City Machine Guns was good. And the opening segment was good, so there were some good things and some bad, but I give it a slightly above average 6 out of 10. So yeah, that's all to say for Smackdown. Leave a like, comment, subscribe for more, and next time I'm out. Peace.